My wife and I gave each other hall passes for our 10-year anniversary. Needless to say, things have gone bad. I, Liam 35, male, am married to my wife, Jennifer 35, female, for the last 11 years. We met at the tail end of college and never looked back. We dated for a year, had a 4-week engagement, and got married. Our marriage has been pretty spectacular. It's not perfect, no one's is. We have our arguments, we get heated sometimes, but we are better at this marriage thing after being together for 12 years than we ever have been. Over the course of this time, we have gone on a lot of adventures and have quite a bit of savings. Just before our 10th anniversary, we had the discussion about having kids. We've both agreed that 1 kid was enough. We also talked about when should we start. The consensus was that we should have 1 more child-free year. In this year, we would hit a lot of those bucket list items. We went skydiving, finally took the trip to Italy that was our dream vacation. We also did some typical things like a beach vacation and a couple of amusement parks. Our year wasn't just about us together, we also took some effort to do more with friends, and each reconnected with some old friends. We didn't have bachelor parties, so we joked this year was our last year of freedom before we had kids. It was on our 10th anniversary, before this year of freedom, that our decisions would end up causing us the turmoil we're experiencing today. To give some background, my wife and I have always had a great bedroom life. We are both high libido and are into a lot of the same things. We are both aware that we each had a very active past prior to getting together. Nothing crazy, we each just had around a dozen partners prior to getting together, and we each had some special experiences back in college. Since getting together, though, it's been 100% just us. We planned a big day of activities for our 10th anniversary and had a lot of fun. It culminated in a fancy dinner and getting a suite at a nearby nice hotel. During dinner, my wife started asking me questions because she wanted to reminisce about our years together. This was really fun, actually, and we had a long, deep conversation about a lot of our favorite memories. Then my wife asked me, "What's something you miss about being single?" I replied, "Don't get mad at me, but one-night stands?" She laughed, which made me feel better, and said, "Yeah, I kinda do too." This got the ball going on us talking about what we liked about an OANS and reliving our first night together. Our relationship started as a post-party hookup. That's when I said, "Well, we've got all these plans for this year coming up. Do you want to add a one-night hall pass on the list?" My wife looked intrigued. She said, "Maybe you don't think that's too much? We've never done anything like that." I kept going. "I don't think so. We can talk about it more this week and then decide." She agreed, and we enjoyed the rest of our night. We talked more about the hall pass idea later in the week. We ultimately decided to do this. We had 1 year to use it, as we had agreed on our 11th anniversary, Jennifer would be going off birth control. There were ground rules. It was to be a one-night only pass-off marriage with someone not in our lives. Be safe and smart. Must tell the other when you are using the pass. It can be in the moment like a chance meeting, but a text heads up at minimum was a must. Over this past year, we did all the adventures we planned. I got on the apps and put myself out there looking for single ONs. It took a few months, but I lucked out and met an attractive 30-year-old woman. Her and her husband were opening their marriage. She wasn't sure what she was wanting out of their arrangement yet, and thought just having a quick one-nighter would be a way to get her feet wet and figure herself out. I was like the perfect candidate, as one night was all I was offering. We met. It was a fun and exciting night. I was able to tell Jennifer ahead of time. She was excited for me, and when I got back the next day, she reclaimed me. I figured it wouldn't be long before she used hers. I was wrong. Over the year, I had asked her if she had any luck finding someone for her HP. She said, "No, no one has stood out for me. The profiles I see are just not appealing. Maybe it's me." We had some talks, and she was looking for a younger guy, maybe around 25. She said there are a lot of single guys on, but they always came off as arrogant or immature. It wasn't until we were almost 11 months in that she said she was ready to use her hall pass. I had gotten to the point I was feeling guilty about using mine, thinking maybe she reconsidered and wasn't going to use hers at all. So when she told me she was ready, she also said it was a special situation and wanted to know if she was still inside our rules because she wasn't going to break those. She told me for the last 3 months, there's been a 23-year-old intern, Wes, in one of the other departments at her company. They interact some, but just about work as her department, and his often had to collaborate. She had been attracted to him, even more so after figuring out he wasn't an idiot, but knew coworkers were bad choices. On top of that, he could potentially be hired at the end of his internship, and that's a big HR no-no. A few days ago, Wes came in and put in a notice that he would be ending his internship as he had been hired for a full-time position in the same field at another company. Their office was all the way across the city, so it would be unlikely for them to be bumping into each other. She wanted to know if this was out of our lives enough. I told her it sounded fine to me. Just be safe and smart. She said she would. She wasn't going to proposition him until after his last day was over. Fast forwarded a week and the day was here. At the end of the day, as Wes was leaving and had said his goodbyes to everyone, my wife told him she would walk him out. He thought that was weird. When they got to his car, she propositioned him about having a night of fun together. She told him she had one hall pass for one night and would get hotel for them if he was interested. He was very interested, but also wasn't sure if it was true and didn't want to get involved in a marriage. My wife put me on a FaceTime call and the guy asked if it was real. I told him, yay, I already used mine. You're her pick, so it's up to you. Jennifer told me he was very excited at that point. He followed her to a hotel and she came back the next morning, where I returned the favor by reclaiming her. The next few weeks clicked by and our 11th anniversary got here. That day, she stopped her birth control. About 2 weeks later, my wife was pregnant, which we thought was oddly quick. We booked an appointment and learned today that she is actually about 7 weeks. This lines up perfectly with her hall pass use, but we also have been having sex often around that time, including the next day. So now I have no idea what to do. She's pregnant, and there is a chance it's not mine. I'm so stressed out. She said she needed to go for a walk to clear her mind. I'm just sitting here stewing, trying to figure out what I should do while waiting for her to come back. This is a total mess. Update 1. The baby is here. I'll start by filling you in on all that happened with my wife, Jennifer, and I, Liam. After my last post, I was waiting for Jennifer to come back from her walk. We had a long talk. I asked her if she used a condom when with Wes. She said, no, that didn't even cross my mind. I was noticeably flabbergasted by that revelation, and had a bit of a snap. What the hell happened to safe and smart? Jennifer, is that what you meant by that? I thought you just meant make sure they're not a psycho. I was on the pill. I don't know why you're snapping at me. You know I've never made anyone use a condom before. Why the hell would I think to do that now? Me. Really, Jennifer, I don't know. Maybe because you're not 21 anymore and I thought you'd want to not get an STD. Jennifer started to tear up. I didn't want anything like this to happen. I'm sorry, I really just didn't think about it. I mean, did you use condoms during your pass? Me? Yes, all 3 times, like better safe than sorry. I paused. I'm gonna ask some things I never planned on asking. How many times did you two? She looked up, eyes pointed up like she was thinking. 5? God damn. I followed up. So he finished in you 5 times? She said no, just twice. I gave her a blank stare and she said, I told him the same thing I always tell you. And everyone before you. I just matter-of-factly said, you can finish wherever you want. Of course you did. At this point, she started to cry. What do you want to do? I responded, I don't want to do anything right now. We should look into paternity tests, just so we know. A couple of weeks later, we had a follow-up. Jennifer asked about the birth control failing, and the doctor asked several questions. We figured out that the prescription athlete's foot met she had been on may make birth control less effective, though that is rare. Not rare enough, apparently. Afterwards, I asked if the pharmacist said anything her when she picked up the script, and she said, I don't know, I wasn't really listening. I'm also not surprised by this. I found the bottle, and yes, it had a birth control warning on it. I was about to ask about paternity tests when Jennifer cued me not to. When we left, I asked her why, and she said, I don't want to spoil my pregnancy, it's probably yours. We had sex twice as many times around then. But if we get the test and it's not yours, she teared a little. Well, this is the only time I'm going to be pregnant. I'd rather believe I'm carrying your child than someone else's. I don't want to give that up. We've agreed we're keeping this baby. You've told me you don't want to separate. Can we just get the test done when the baby's here? I agreed. I wanted her to enjoy her only pregnancy. We did all the normal things over the remaining months, got all the stuff for the nursery, the car essentials, and stocked up on diapers. We made plans, got a go bag ready, and I baby-proofed the house the best I could. Our parents are extremely excited. They threw us a baby shower. The pregnancy was relatively smooth, and after 39 weeks, our beautiful baby girl, Willow, was born. As we were there in the hospital, Jennifer asked me if I'd like to get that paternity test while we're still here. I told her, no, I don't care anymore. This perfect girl is mine. I don't need a test to tell me that. I'm her dad. She's my girl. Jennifer was so happy. I think it was what she always wanted to hear. We're gonna take this baby home tomorrow and just enjoy every moment we have ahead of us. Besides, the likelihood this ever comes up again is pretty slim. Update 2. 22 years ago, I made a couple of posts detailing the issues surrounding my Liam 58 male wife's Jennifer 58 female pregnancy. Since I doubt anyone remembers, the short of it was we gave each other hall passes. My wife used hers and was having sex with me around that time. Her birth control failed and she became pregnant. We were torn about what to do. We're always keeping the baby, but knowing it was possibly another man's child caused us quite a bit of heartache. Ultimately, we decided, to not get a paternity test and just raise our daughter together. Our daughter, Willow, 22, female, is a senior in college now. She always comes home on extended breaks and over the summer, which is easy because her university is only about an hour from here. It's the same one we graduated from. She is a fantastic young woman with a bright future. This year she asked if she could bring her boyfriend, Woody, 20 male, of the last 9 months home with her. We agreed. The night they got home, we had a big dinner made for them. It was going along really nicely, and we were getting to know Woody. He seemed like a really good kid. He was actually from Oregon. His grandparents lived near the university, as this is where his mom and dad were originally from. He came to college here because it's where his dad went and to be around his grandparents. He was asking us questions too, and it was good until he asked my wife where she worked at and what she did. When she told him, he said, "Oh, cool, that's what my dad does." Woody then proceeded to tell her that his dad actually interned at my wife's company before getting a job at their rival. Then he got promoted and sent out to Oregon. I watched as my wife got noticeably alert during this conversation, and then it hit me like a truck. I luckily did not fall over or blurt anything out. My wife then said, "Woody, is that a nickname or were you named after the actor?" He chuckled. Sort of. It's my last name, Woodson. My first name is actually Josh, but my friends have called me Woody since middle school because, when you're 12, that's hilarious. I just embrace it. My wife was starting to sweat. "And can I ask what was your dad's name? Maybe I remember him." "Woody. Wesley Woodson. Most people call him Wes, though." I wanted to pass out, but we played it cool. Willow did ask if something was wrong, but we said no and changed the subject. They wanted to play Mario Party 30 with us, so we did. Afterwards, they headed off to Willow's room, and we sprinted into ours. "What the fuck?" I exclaimed. "Jennifer, I know. What are the odds of that? Of all the people in the world she could meet and fall for, oh my god, she might be fucking her brother." Me refusing to pull my head from the sand. "Are you sure? They might not be doing that yet." My wife looked at me. "Seriously? She tells me everything. I normally shelter you from this because you can't handle it, but we're going to have to grow up to get through this. She's just like we were in college. They've been doing it since the first date. He's far from her first. I need you to quickly come to terms with this." I'm actively pretending I didn't hear anything she said. My head is going back in the sand when this is over. We realized we can't just demand she breaks up with him. She will absolutely question that. Also, we know she really likes him, maybe in love with him. She's getting towards the end of college, and that's when life decisions get made. We can't just sit here and hope the relationship runs its course. Now we have to make decisions. We realize we need to get that paternity test. This will also raise questions, so we have to talk to Willow and tell her the reality of the situation, because she is a strong-willed person and is not going to just go along with anything without answers. We talked her into sending Woody on to his grandparents a half day early. It was an awkward day and half up for us, but we did our best to not let them notice. Then we told her the whole deal, as discreetly and non-traumatizing as possible, about the hall passes and Wes, and our decision to not get a paternity test. Willow looked like she wanted to throw up. She was so mad and disgusted. I can't blame her. All in one moment, she found out she may not know her biological father, but also that she may be in a sexual relationship with her half-brother. We got the test done and are now waiting the 5 or so days to get the results back. Willow is faking an illness to avoid visiting Woody and keeping him from coming back here. They are still talking, but she seems sad. Her somber tone is helping with the sick ruse. She's just hoping that the tests come back with me as her father. I'll update when they get here and everything is settled. Update 3. I feel so terrible about everything that has happened. It's been a month, and I think the dust is finally starting to settle. I'll get right to the million-dollar question. Willow was not my biological daughter. She took it really hard. Not just that I wasn't her father, but this also meant she was having a relationship with her half-brother. It was a devastating discovery. We invited Woody back over. He got really nervous when he saw that Willow was crying. That is when we told him the story about Jennifer and Wes, how we never got it tested, and it was a 1 in a billion chance that him and Willow find each other. He was distraught, he got angry and stormed out. He came back later on and had his dad Wes on the phone. We talked and I revealed that my daughter was biologically his. He remembered my wife and his night with her. He couldn't believe it. He said he would get on the first flight here. In the meantime, Willow was not accepting of this and wanted proof that they were brother and sister, saying, "This test just says you're not my father, not that his dad is mine. How do you know mom didn't cheat?" I volunteered to get them DNA tested. I knew what it was going to say, but if it gave her a few days of hope, I was willing. Woody agreed and we got the test sent that day. His parents arrived the next day. We showed them the results, stating Willow was not mine. We also told them we tested the two youths to see if they were brother and sister. Woody's mom was upset we got him tested without their permission and felt like we were taking too many liberties with her family. She said, "You already dropped the bomb that my husband has a secret child, and now you're just doing what you want with our son." I understood where she was coming from. We were definitely disrupting their peace. Wes and Willow took a paternity test that day and got it in the mail. The Woodsons went to stay with their family. We stayed home and tried to work through everything as a family. We made an individual counseling appointment for Willow and a family therapy appointment for all of us. It was a tough few days. When we got the results back from Willow and Woody's test, we called the Woodsons. They had just received the paternity test and were going to come over and open it with us. They arrived and I opened the DNA test. Willow and Woody were not siblings. There was a sigh of relief amongst everyone there. I looked at my wife. My mind was racing. She had the most confused look on her face, which gave my rising anger pause. I was not prepared for what happened next. Wes opened his results, and they confirmed he was the father of Willow. He said, "This doesn't make sense. How can I be her father and them not be siblings?" I understood right away. As the wheel turned in his mind, I could see obvious pain in his eyes. He turned to his wife, who had a defensive and angry look. She began going off about the tests had to be wrong, how this is all some trick, that we want something from them, and that we are scammers. Her rambling confirmed everything.
Hit subscribe, ring the bell, and if you enjoy, smash that like button.